Hey, hey, hope you had a wonderful weekend. Hey, it's Monday morning. It's the 1st of March as we're recording. And every week on a Monday, I get the wonderful opportunity to introduce you to one of our Her Business Network members who brings to this session her area of expertise. And because our community is one of women business owners who are growing and scaling their business, they're collaborating with other women, they're marketing, they're discovering who their ideal client is, there's always a few gems for you to take away. So thank you so much for joining me. If you've just joined, go ahead and let me know that you're here. You should be able to add something to comments. And if you have questions along the way, as I'm talking to Siobhan, who's my guest today, then let me know. So I'm working on a project right now that sort of comes to life next week. And you might have seen some things about it here, wherever you're watching. The first thing is that on Monday, the 8th of March, we are starting a week-long coaching week. Now, I've put myself in the saddle to coach women business owners for a whole week on a specific thing. And that thing is how to get your next client, how to know what your next client is worth to you, and how to go ahead and get that client without feeling salesy, without feeling slimy, without feeling uncomfortable, making your offer, charging what you're worth. And so that's coming up for coaching week. So all week, you're going to see us talking about that and inviting you to join me, because it's a really, really great week. And even if you're not available every day for every lesson, every day comes with something for you to do where you can use your natural tendencies to get more clients, get referrals, create strategic alliances, find peers, find the support that you want in your business. So I'll tell you more about that before we finish up today. But for now, let's get into our member spotlight. Now, my guest is Siobhan Jones. I'm going to have her introduce herself to you when I bring her on. She is someone who's been in our network for a little while. She's working on an interesting course for women business owners, and we'll be telling you more about that in just a moment. But let me go ahead and bring her online now. Hello, hello.
Hi, Susie. It's a pleasure to be here and speak with you.
Thank you. Well, we've got Debbie saying good morning, Susie. Good morning to you too. Felicity's joining us from Broome, which I love. And Mina is here as well and saying good morning. Thank you, thank you. And the rest of you who've joined us, feel free to go ahead and say hi, and we'll flash your name up on the screen. That's always a little bit of fun. Siobhan and I are going to talk today mostly about Siobhan. This is all about her. But we're talking business, and anytime I get the opportunity to speak to another woman business owner, I know that I'm going to learn something, right? Because we're all growing our businesses in different ways. We come with different skills and different strengths. So go ahead and tell us who you are, who you serve, what you do, using what we at Her Business call your connection statement or something close to that.
Yes, so I'm Siobhan Jones, and my business is The Unlocked Creative, and I help successful women to find their creative outlet and make time for it. And I'm here to help successful women unlock their creative gifts for soul restoration and life transformation. And I do that with one-on-one online mentoring at the moment, and then eventually there'll be an online course ready for you.
Great. So you're working one-on-one with women in this very powerful way to help them really unlock, like you said, their creative gifts, which I think is absolutely beautiful. And so what is your great expertise that has lended itself to this work that you're doing now?
Yes, Susie. So I come from a communications background, and I think my key skill is really listening to what people are really saying, and then communicating it clearly so that they can listen, reflect on that, and then use that information to flourish.
Love it. And we said we're kind of talking about women, but tell us who specifically is your ideal client, because I know that you've been doing some extra work to really understand her. It's mostly her, right?
Yes, absolutely. So it's a successful woman, whether that be, they spend all their time looking after their family, homeschooling, or a corporate executive, or you may also be a female entrepreneur. It's that woman who is doing all the things. So they're 30 to 40, and basically you've buried your creative treasure and it's calling you, and I'm here to help you unlock it and find it and listen to it.
Right. And so again, just because I'm going to coach you just as we're doing this, because I like women to be as clear as possible on who they serve. And so I'd love to get a little tighter. What is the problem that she's having right now that has her think, I need to unlock my creativity? Like, what does life look like for her right now?
Mhm.
Other than she's doing all the things, how has she identified there's something there that's trapped?
So, I mean, I know that my ideal client has put everything into this one thing, this one career direction that they've chosen for themselves,
Mm, mm,
and it's that sense of there's something more, there's something about their life that isn't fulfilling,
mm.
and it's that they've actually forgotten their dream, their childhood dream, even of creating.
All right. If you can relate, go ahead and say something in chat, or if you have a question. Hey, Christina. Christina's joined us. And Mina, hi. Wonderful to have you here. Now, the problem that they're having, like you said, is that they've actually forgotten what their big
Mm.
dream was. And so you're helping them unlock, reconnect with that. Now, I've heard you say that sometimes, and as someone who, I did an art class with a fabulous artist a couple of years ago in January, and it was an art class, and I was being asked to be creative in a way that I'm not normally creative. I'm creative like in my own little world, but it came to that application and I was like, I just froze. And so you do hear people say, I'm not creative. And so what do you say to women when you hear that?
I understand where you're coming from, but we're actually all born creative. So innately, we are creative. We're born creative. And actually, the neuroscience shows that the creative process, the creative thinking process, is something that we're all born with. So I really encourage everybody to explore the idea that, or the actual truth, that we are all creative and start there. There's a lot of thinking and kind of false beliefs that come with that as well. When you have believed something for so long that is false, you decide not to do things. So you decide not to be creative and not to take action. So we start there. And it's really, honestly, the main thing that stops people from creating is that belief that they're not creative. And then the second thing is the time. How do I fit it into my life?
Right.
Yeah.
I actually believe that as female entrepreneurs, so most of the women watching here, we are creating something. It doesn't exist, and then it exists. There's no
Yes.
business, and suddenly there's a business, and there's clients, and there's marketing, and there's messaging, and so we are in that creative process. It's just like some of us have this warped, I guess, idea of what creativity is, and like you said, like I don't have time to be creative. So I did ask you to bring some pieces of advice that you typically find yourself giving your clients, and I know that we've already started by you saying that we are actually already creative. What else do you find yourself typically saying to your clients that could
So
help someone watching?
yeah, absolutely. So I think stemming from that is to be creative. We're all creative, but to be a creative, as that term is kind of thrown around a bit these days, we need to first start. We need to practice. We need to start whatever the craft is, whatever that creative outlet is that you have been longing to pursue. And starting really is the hardest part. So I assist women with that step. But then importantly, the first piece of advice from that is, why do you want to create? You need to know why. And the reason for that is the creative process can be beautiful, can be exciting, you can feel passionate. It can also be really challenging at times. So understanding why you want to create and the feeling that you're trying to kind of chase after, that is something that you need to know. So that's definitely something that's a piece of advice that I kind of ask people about and give. And then the other piece of advice is, to do with the time factor. So I always hear women say, I don't have time for this creative outlet. I've got this on, and I don't have any time. It just doesn't exist. Can you create an extra hour for me, please? So what I always suggest is, where can you create for 2 minutes? No longer, no less. Where
I
can
love
you
it.
create?
Right. And what might we do in that 2 minutes?
Well, you can write. You can write about, if you have I have a candle here burning, but you can write about the scent of a candle that you can smell, or, your favorite food. You can scrawl or sketch on a piece of paper. And really what that is about is allowing yourself to open to the
Mm.
experience of what creating feels like.
Mm.
Mhm.
I love it. You mentioned earlier, knowing what you want to create. So, for some of us, it's I want to create an online course, or I
Mhm.
want to write a book, or I want to um, go to dance class. I don't know. It can be pretty much anything, right? Because
Yeah.
creating is just manifesting something that wasn't there before, and doesn't mean we have to all have the gift of being an artist or a singer or any of those things. But even then, I think when we go into those areas that are unknown to us, there's ways for us to I've known people who weren't artists who are now selling their art. They weren't
Yeah.
artists. They never thought of themselves as an artist. I know people who are sculptors who were never sculptors. They just started, like you said, they started to practice. They started to find their voice. It turned into something that someone
Mhm.
liked, and they got a little bit more confidence. That was so interesting. We're getting some comments here. Mariam says, I believe I'm very creative with my ideas. My problem is how to implement them into my business. Oh,
Mhm.
that's an interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. So I'm creative with my ideas, but I don't know how to implement them into my business. Do you have any advice on that?
I would be thinking about, what is different about this idea to the other ideas that you've implemented, and does it need to actually be implemented in a different way, or I would be questioning what's the thing that's stopping you from implementing,
Mm,
and often the thing that can come up, as it does for all, in my experience, everybody I've worked with, all of my clients, is the inner critic. So we
mm,
always get this questioning of, I've got this great idea, but I don't want to implement it because what will people think of me? Or, it's not going to be this perfect thing that I'm bringing into the world.
mm.
But then what happens to that idea if you don't pursue it? And
Right.
Liz Gilbert has a book called Big Magic, and she talks about this concept of ideas. If you don't choose that idea to take it through to
Mm,
implementation, then it flies away and finds someone else to land on. So yeah, I'd be thinking about how important is that idea to you to implement,
mm.
and then how might you implement it?
I think that's very interesting. And I do love that book. It's Big Magic. And I highly recommend it. And this idea, like you might have seen a competitor and they're doing something, you're like, I had that idea, right? But you didn't act on it. And sometimes it's because, we're just not backing ourselves or we're just not sure. And I'm sure this is the sort of work that you do with people. But also, I think in our business and as a business owner, I can have a lot of ideas, but should they all be implemented? Absolutely not. And Mariam, it's the same for you, because once I have my clear vision of where I'm going, what I'm working on, there's going to be more ideas than there's time and resources for. So we have to be really selective. And then once you choose, go to town on your creativity. So right now we're working on a project, and, rather than creating a new thing, we're doing the same thing, but within those boundaries, we're being creative. So it's like, okay, we did this week-long program last year. We're doing it again next week. But now what can we do? Where can we tweak? Where can we get creative? Is it the tools we're using? Is it the messaging? Is it the imagery? So creativity can be applied to so many things in your business, Mariam, and it doesn't have to be doing all the ideas.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sharon's saying, great message, Siobhan. Morning, Susie. And some people are spelling your name with a J. But
Interesting.
that's okay. Oh, yes, I have many ideas that fly away, says Sharon. Great book, says Mina. Yeah, terrific book, terrific book. So our three big ideas here are that we are all innately creative. We just need to get started. Being really clear what it is that you want to create, right? Putting some boundaries around that vision, and then looking at where you could create in 2 minutes. I love that idea because we can all steal 2 minutes. We're waiting in line at the checkout where, the kids are coming to the car, they're just finishing up sport. It's that piece of quiet time before the rest of the family gets up, or that time before you go to bed, just stealing those couple of minutes. And I bet there's actually a lot people can do in just a couple of minutes, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about, standing in line for a cup of coffee, how long does that take? And usually it will take more than 2 minutes. So, could you take that time that you might be looking at your phone doing goodness knows what to actually, even, it doesn't necessarily have to be writing or sketching. It can be generating the ideas. So thinking, seeing, observing, using your senses and using that as input to later go back and spend the 2 minutes. But then you've spent 4 minutes,
I love it. I love it. One of the things that I do is I have a podcast. And so it's often in those stolen moments that I'll come up with ideas for future episodes, and so I'll use that time as a little brainstorm and note that down. So yeah, you can use it for anything that you've like, just getting those ideas together. I mentioned earlier that you're working on a course, and I wanted to, in a few minutes, let people know how they can work with you, how you work one-on-one. But I want to talk about your business. And where I wanted to start was when it comes to growing your business, what has been probably your biggest challenge or frustration?
Yeah, I think, Susie, it's a great question because I feel like there's so much information around. There are lots of people doing lots of things and niching down into trying to help, new entrepreneurs start their business. So it can be really difficult to know where to start. And I know for me, I was really interested in creating an online course, as you mentioned earlier, but I started like one of those 3-day challenges that was available online, especially during COVID last year. Right. But the thing that I felt was I can't continue on with this because actually I haven't got the foundations right yet and the strategic direction. And that's certainly something that I feel like, as being a member of HerBusiness, it's one of the things that I get from being a member of HerBusiness is staying on track. So focus, but also, the importance of being very strategic in where I'm headed with my business.
Right, because a course is a thing. It's not. It's just a way for you to be creative and get your message out there, just like a podcast is, just like a newsletter is. And often we can see that thing, a membership is, all those things. But like you said, it's like once you get really clear, who is my ideal client and what is my strategy? Where am I going to put my precious attention? And that goes to the focus that you said. Then we can block out our time knowing that it's serving this thing that we really want. And so you've obviously come to the decision that a course is going to serve your people next. It is a way for you to get creative and be able to go from this one-on-one model that you have now to a one-to-many kind of model. So you're working on your course, and we were chatting just before we went live that you're looking at a sort of mid-year release. Is that correct?
Yes, that is the aim at the moment. Yes.
Great. Well, you know that we are here to support you, and we have some resources to support you along the way. Tell me, you've been a member for how long of the HerBusiness Network? Can you remember?
Yeah, I think it's actually only 2 months, I think.
Oh, November. Okay, so here we go. It's March. So for all of us, it feels like 2 months. Yeah, so you must have joined in November when we last had the doors open, and we're opening the doors again in March. And what sort of problems, like focus, we've talked about focus and staying on track. What other problems has being a member of the HerBusiness Network supported you and your business with?
So I think that's really funny that it's been 4 months, not 2, because it just, time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
It does.
But truly, I think I joined because I felt like I needed to have that ongoing support with a group of women who understood what I was trying to achieve, because I felt like I didn't have anybody within my network who understood. So really understanding the support and the connection. I think there are lots of business groups out there, but HerBusiness there's really no kind of competitiveness there. There's no kind of competitive streak. It's all about supporting each other. And so what I get from it is I guess, those two things, understanding and support. But then there's also this brilliant thing that happens, which is connection with other women in the network. And it's a really genuine connection that I feel we're all there to learn from each other. And there's, a bunch of amazing, incredible, inspiring women at all stages of business. And that's really inspiring because, no matter where you are on that kind of journey, you can learn something from people at all levels.
I love that. And, one of the things, just to echo what Siobhan's saying, is that I love about being in a community of women business owners is that someone has walked the steps that you're going to walk, who's willing to lend a hand. And because we do have this very much this collaboration over competition culture, people aren't used to that, so they come in and they're like, wow, everyone here really wants everyone to win. And something that I'm very, very proud of. And I'm so excited that time has flown by and that you're taking advantage of the different programs we have. Are you in a goals group?
I am, yes.
You are? Oh, so for those watching, goals groups are our peer-to-peer accountability groups that you get the opportunity to join when you're part of the HerBusiness Network. How's that going?
It's fantastic. I think, along with the monthly roundtables and roundups that HerBusiness offers, this is another opportunity to connect with other women and stay focused on the things that matter in your business. And it's not just about setting your goals, it's about reflecting and getting the support to get there.
I love it. Now, I'm just going to pop your website here on the screen. Go ahead and tell me, how can people get your support to really unlock that creativity that they have sidelined? Maybe the kids took over, or family commitments, or an elderly parent, or just a job that took all their energy. How can people work with you right now while you're building your course?
Yeah, so at the moment, it's a great question. At the moment, I'm doing one-on-one mentoring sessions. So, it's dedicated time for you to uncover and identify your creative gifts if you're not, you're uncertain about what they might be. And then getting to the bottom of why you're not creating if you already know what you would like to be working on, whether it be writing, painting, dancing, whatever the thing is. And then opening up to the opportunities to create that are all around. So that's about me assisting you to look at what your schedule looks like right now, using tactics like time blocking, habit creation, and scheduling in a way that's unique and relevant for your life, and aligned with your values. Because to me, that is a true schedule, is one where you're aligning your activity with your values. And then so it's all about awareness and clarity, but then it's about the tactical aspects of how we actually integrate creativity into your life.
I love it. Please go ahead and go to theunlockcreative.com. Firstly, it's a lovely website. It's nice and clear, which I always love to see. But also avail yourself of those services, especially if you're feeling like, all I ever do is work. I really need more to my life. But, if you're nodding, let me know. Let me know you're nodding. All I do is work. I want to thank you so much for being here, Siobhan. We're going to pop your URL right wherever you're watching this video right now. You'll find a link to Siobhan's website, and stay tuned for her course, which is coming out very, very soon as well. And I love what you said there around time blocking, habit creation, and scheduling, because they sound like left brain, organized things, but inside of structure, we find freedom to be creative. And that is something powerful, because sometimes we think of creativity as loosey-goosey, or I do anyway, but it's not. It's like creating the container for you to be creative. I'm very, very excited. I'm very excited to have had this time with you, Siobhan. I'm very excited about the contribution that you're making to our community and to your goals group and to women everywhere through the Unlock Creative. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with?
Well, firstly, I wanted to thank you and the team for creating such a beautiful space for everybody. And yeah, I think the thing that I would love everybody to leave with is just make time to connect to your creativity. It's part of you, and it doesn't just benefit you, it benefits everybody around you when you connect with it.
Thank you so much. I'll see you inside our members group. Thank you. Oh, I love what Siobhan had to say there. And here's why it speaks really loudly to me, because as someone who's a workaholic, I don't always make time for creativity. I run, I go to the gym, I have, things that I do, but anything that sort of seems creative seems like, oh, can I really fit that in? And so this has been very, very encouraging to me. So I will definitely be following that up, because there are some things that I really want to do, but I haven't got the structure to do those. The other reason I'm very excited is because today's the 1st of March, and each month inside of the HerBusiness Network, we have an area of business that we focus on. And even though each of us is running our own business and running our own race and focusing on different things, as a community, we come together and we focus on a specific part of business, because as business owners, we can't focus on everything all the time. Now, March happens to be our focus is on what we call the U growth zone. So our growth zones are 8 areas of business that any successful business has working for them. And they include things like sales and marketing and people and systems and technology and money and all those core areas of business. And so we've just finished up a month talking about people and how do we build our team and outsource and get everything out of being in our inbox and into other people's inboxes. But this month we're talking about you, and you is your confidence, your creativity, your self-expression. It's about grit. It's about self-care. And so Siobhan's kind of the perfect guest as we kick off a month of focusing on how do I bring more of my values into my business? How do I do what I love every single day, which is our catchphrase at Her Business, is do what you love every single day, because we are really about women creating businesses that serve their pocket, their bank account, but also serve them at the being level. And so the U growth zone is really about who are you being as you move towards your vision. So that's very exciting. Before we go, there is something I want to let you know about. I talked about it earlier in this session, and that is next week we are running the Get New Clients Coaching Week. So whether you tend to back away from asking for the sale, or you're just not sure of the value of what you bring, or you're just not sure how to compete in a competitive marketplace while still staying true to who you are, that's what next week is about. And for just $10, I'm going to be coaching you to get your next lot of clients, really identifying who your ideal clients are, what they're worth to you, and then where do you find them? And how do you talk about your business in a way that has people come to you so you don't feel like you are trying to pull people towards you, but rather that they are being drawn to you because of who you are and what you offer, and they really understand your value. So if you are interested in joining me and a bunch of fabulous women, all you need to do is go to hercoachingweek.com. You'll see the details. It runs for a week. It's all delivered live each day, but every session is recorded. There are worksheets and bonuses and all sorts of tools that you can take away and use forever. Because once you can unlock how to get a new client your way, then you can do that again and again and again and again and again and again and again. So that's coming up, Coaching Week. Go ahead and join me. As I said, the details are over on hercoachingweek.com. Have a great week. Once again, thank you to Siobhan Jones. Be sure to check her out at theunlockedcreative.com. I'll see you back here next Monday with another member spotlight. Bye for now.